Hello, I'm John Kneebone and welcome to Mainline Bait's Carp Fishing TV, where today we've got an interesting subject to cover because I'm going to try and answer a question that we do get asked a lot here at Mainline Baits, and that's how do I become a sponsored angler? So we're now approaching the end of 2020, and I guess for most of us we'll all be pretty pleased to see the back of it, but it is a time to also look forward at a new year, a new season carp fishing. And if you want to begin a journey towards perhaps becoming a sponsored angler one day, or even working within the industry, what I'm going to do today is give you my 5 top tips on things that can help you progress within your carp fishing and perhaps achieve that goal. Now, these tips or pieces of advice, they do relate to me personally and my journey where I became a sponsored angler, and now ultimately I work within the carp fishing industry. But full disclosure here, other anglers within the Mainline Baits team or other anglers out there representing other companies, they may have different experiences and be able to offer you different pieces of advice. But for me, tip number 1 has to be being able to document your fishing and time on the bank by taking good quality pictures and photos. To take good photos, or rather learn how to take good photos, you don't need a load of money to go out and buy a big expensive camera. What's more important is that you're learning where to point that camera and capture the moment. Now, all mobile phones, modern mobile phones, always have a pretty good camera on them, and that's the place to start, to teach yourself how to point that camera at the right thing at the right time and compose a nice pleasing image. Later on, of course, you may turn and buy yourself a DSLR camera or a mirrorless camera or something that's going to allow you to be that bit more creative. But the most important thing with whatever camera that you've got is to practice. If anybody catches a fish on the bank, ask them if you can take their catch shots. And then while you're sat there on the bank, there's everything else that's going on in that environment. The wildlife, sunsets, sunrises, all these things can be captured with your camera. They're going to be teaching you how to take photos, giving you better photographic skills. And if you've got a good angling ability that ultimately could see you become a sponsored angler one day, if you can couple that angling ability with being able to take good photos, you're certainly going to find it a lot easier to enter the industry. So you've taught yourself how to take a nice photo. What comes next? Well, I think you know what I'm going to say. Tip number 2, and that's using social media. Things like Facebook, Instagram, they're brilliant platforms for you to be able to post all these lovely images that you're taking and create yourself a portfolio of you and your carp fishing. If you're on the bank every week and you're catching, or if you're not catching, you're taking inspirational pictures of, like I say, the sunsets, the wildlife, and you're showing carp fishing in the positive light that it is, that's what's going to get you noticed in the end. Because don't forget, if any company is looking to support anglers and they do notice you, you're going to be an ambassador for that company, and you're going to need to be a positive person. You're going to need to be seen in that light. You're going to need to be able to interact with other people. It's not all about how many followers you have or how many likes you get, or not even so much about the size of the fish that you catch. What's important is consistency, quality, and positivity. Now, social media, you haven't just got photographs, you've also got other features like being able to take videos and post stories. And that leads me on to tip number 3, which is practicing, learning, and teaching yourself to be comfortable in front of camera. Believe it or not, there's a lot of editing that goes into these videos because there's a lot of cock-ups. Most anglers, we're not naturally comfortable in front of camera, and at the end of the day, if you do become a sponsored angler or you're getting noticed, it's going to be because of your angling ability. But at some point in modern carp fishing and modern carp fishing media, you're going to need to be able to talk to camera. Now, back in my day, which is many years ago, magazines, being able to write articles was the way forward. But I also, through my angling journey, I experienced the transition between that and moving over to things like social media and videos. And at the time, I just started taking a video diary of all of my carp fishing sessions. Now, the modern term for that is a vlog. We called it a carp fishing diary at the time. And albeit when I watch any of them videos back now, they're very cringe-worthy, they were also very valuable to where I am now, because I was just flicking the camera on. It was only me, the camera, on the bank. I'd get the flip screen round, look at the camera, I start talking about my session, about my fishing, about my tactics, and it kind of got me on the right track into knowing not only how to talk to camera, but how things need to look, how things need to edit. And you're just gaining all this valuable experience that could initially help you become a sponsored angler, but they could also be valuable skills that could help you move into the carp fishing industry. As I've looked on social media today, I've seen 3 jobs advertised with carp fishing companies. Now, if you're already a carp angler and you've got an understanding of carp fishing, and on top of that, you know how to take a photo, and on top of that, you know how to point a camera and take some videos, and then after you've done all of that, you know how to edit it together, or at least you've got an understanding that they can progress with you, then let me tell you, that is certainly going to look top notch on your CV when you apply for jobs like that. Having the motivation to pull out your phone or pull out your camera and film yourself, it leads me on perfectly to tip number 4, and that's adding action to intention. And what I'm talking about here is, rather than emailing companies, we get these sort of emails come in all the time saying, oh, I'm going to fish this syndicate next year, and I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to start a YouTube channel and so on. Go out there, fish that syndicate, start catching fish, start taking photos, start videoing them, maybe start a YouTube channel, and at the end of that year, send all of that content that you've created to different companies, maybe your favorite brands and brands that you're being loyal to, and tell them this is what I've done. And that is what adding action to intention is all about. It shows that you will do things. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with being super keen and all excited about starting on a new water perhaps, or the prospect of a new challenge, and it's tempting to contact companies and let them know of all this excitement that you have. And I'm not looking to crush anybody's dreams here. Carp fishing needs to be an enjoyable experience, and at the end of the day, if you go away and you start a new campaign and you're taking photographs of all your fish and the swims and the wildlife and all these things, and you're filming yourself, you're going to be enjoying all of this. And at the end of the day, you're going to need to be enjoying it, because you're going to be just doing these things for no more reward than your own satisfaction. So it needs to be enjoyable. And that leads me now onto my last tip, or my last piece of advice, tip number 5. And for me, this is the most important thing of all. It overrides everything, absolutely everything. And that is, you must have a passion for carp fishing. Passion for carp fishing when it comes to being a sponsored angler or even working in the industry. Passion is everything.
I can't maintain my excitement. I might wee myself in a minute. Let's see. Oh my God.
When you're angling for your own enjoyment and you're fishing just because that is your passion and that's your number 1 priority, everything else will just come on its own. It will just follow suit. It just will do naturally. Carp fishing means many different things to many different people. Some people like catching lots of fish in a session. Sometimes they might be quite small fish. Other people, they like going out there and catching less fish but bigger fish, or they're targeting specific fish. But when we all go out on the bank, we've all got one thing in common, and that's we want to be there and we want to enjoy the experience. Now, if you can relay that experience, there's no better way of doing that than just being yourself, being natural, and because of that, you must have passion for the fishing, and that is the most important thing. Now, if I was to name drop or name pick a couple of the bigger anglers within our team, let's just say Dave Lane and Daryl Peck, then yes, they've got sponsors, they've got support, and they've got companies that are helping them with their fishing, and it enables them to go fishing maybe more often or for longer, and consequently they can maybe target more difficult fish and so on. But let me tell you, if all their sponsors fell away tomorrow, they would still be out there fishing, because their number one priority is fishing. It's catching them fish. That's what they love most of all. Yes, they're associated with brands and companies that they like being with and they're loyal to, but their first priority is the most important one, and that is passion for carp fishing. If you haven't got that, and your number one priority is just to get yourself noticed and get yourself sponsored, maybe just so that you can tell all your mates that you're getting cheaper or free tackle, whatever it might be, the harsh reality is you're probably not going to get noticed, you're probably not going to get picked up. But if you're out there catching and you're out on the bank and you're doing all these things that I've told you about, you will undoubtedly get noticed in the end. And if becoming sponsored or even working in the industry is something that you strive to do, then I think you'll be on the right tracks. Okay, so that's my 5 tips or pieces of advice on becoming a sponsored angler, or even perhaps working in the carp fishing industry one day. And if that's something you'd like to do, well, I hope that helps. If you've got any other questions, leave them in the comments box below. I think this will probably be the last video now on the YouTube channel before Christmas. So on that note, on behalf of Mainline Baits, I'd like to thank you all for your support throughout what's been a troubled year, but we've kind of got there in the end. Let's look forward to 2021, getting back out on the bank, getting some wet nets and catching some more carp. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, hit the notification button so you know when our next video is coming out. If you don't yet subscribe to the channel, you know what I'm going to say. Hit that subscription button below, it's really important to us, and for more carp fishing videos I'll leave links to those here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.